What's going on, everybody? It's Tuesday night. Time to talk some football. You guys all know me. I'm the loudmouth of the South, SAJ. I'm coming to you live from a little bit different location today. As you can see, got my studio finally set up a little bit. I'm going to be coming to you live from the TG&Y studios. And for those that don't remember, TG&Y was like a five and dime kind of store.
What's up, everybody? I'm BD. Today, I'm going to be coming at you from the White Rabbit Studios.
Oh, good one.
Lovely music home for all punk and emo on St. Mary's for years and years and years.
Yes. So it's still
now
there.
The Paper Tiger, which does it's called the Paper Tiger, which is not nearly as cool as the White Rabbit, but that site is still a. It's still a music
Jackie?
club. So
look right there, Jackie. Just so you guys don't feel left out. Look, I included you in on the board. Now, are all my logos showing the right way? Because I don't understand how technology works. Or are they all reversed?
So your Brahmas one looks good, but your Packers and the Cowboys are reversed.
Okay. So
what do you got going on over there?
What we're gonna do is that. And there you go. Now everything should be showing correctly. Okay. I just wanted to make sure because it had the whole mirror camera thing and I don't understand technology. Yeah, and I don't want to forget about the Frisco Fighters behind us because we support them as well. But XFL Mike G, 100%. I want to make sure I'm showing this here. Good call. Joe's Volcano. See, Brian, Joe's Volcano was this club that
it's on
because
the list.
of the movie.
It's on the list of ones to come from. So, Mike G's over here jumping the gun.
Mike G is jumping the gun just a little bit. So,
just a bit.
So, Brian, let's talk some football. Okay?
Yeah, I mean, this is the first weekend in a while that both of us are watching just as spectators without a dog in the fight.
Yep. There were some surprisingly close games, some really good football this weekend. Not gonna lie.
I tell you, that KC Buffalo game was such a good game to watch.
That was a phenomenal game. That Green Bay San Francisco game, don't let that score fool you. That game should not have been as close as it was. Okay?
Oh, you know what? You're right. Y'all did play. I'm sorry. That's my fault. I thought y'all got knocked out last week. I think that was us. Whatever. I was getting confused.
Yeah. Well, I mean, didn't Green Bay knock you guys out?
Yeah, I don't remember that. Dude, I'm old. Right I've slept since then.
Right here. That's why Green Bay is above Dallas on my board. Because, in typical Green Bay fashion, we take the Cowboys out, and then we get wiped out the next round by San Fran.
Yeah, right? By the 49ers. I mean, hey, you've got Rodgers did it.
Brett Favre did it, and now Jordan Love did it.
Favre did it. So, Jordan Love, you got your new franchise QB. He's just following the footsteps.
Yep. Now, our friend XFL Mike G actually shared a meme with us, and I want to see if I can find that and bring it up because it was absolutely hilarious. Let me log into the book because you guys got to see this. Like, this is 100% like the funniest thing I think I've ever seen in my entire life. Maybe not the funniest thing, but it was pretty damn funny. Okay, if I can find where it is.
Oh, is this the one he sent today?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, now let me see if I can figure out how to share screen. Share screen, the Facebook, share. Can you guys see that? Absolutely classic. Absolutely classic. Geez. Right? That's typical Brett Favre right there. Okay. Did you see it?
Oh, yeah. It was there.
Okay. Just want to make sure. Okay. Now I'm going to close out Facebook and make this a little bit more family friendly again. It's an age-old story, right? Green Bay Packers have all of these hidden gems, right? Brett Favre, I don't know if you remember or not, but we actually got Brett Favre on a trade from Atlanta. Look, Jackie said she blinked slowly. Right? She's watching our show like this.
Yeah. Don't look.
Yep. Green Bay got Brett Favre on a trade to Atlanta. And had it not been for that, who knows where Brett Favre would have wound up. I mean, chances were looking like he wasn't going to have much of a career at all because he was a backup in Atlanta and he was not going to do well. Had it not been for him getting traded to Green Bay and Majkowski getting hurt, Brett would have never had his opportunity. And there you go, 100%. Glanville did not like him at all. And so we picked him up for a steal. I think literally it was like, a 6-pack of New Glarus beer and a bag of cheese curds is what we got him for. Anyways, long story short, we pick him up, becomes the Brett Favre that we all know and despise. Then we pick up this snot-nosed kid from UCLA, and Brett Favre is mad about it. And so he takes maybe 10 minutes to look at the kid and be like, F you, kid. I'm going to do my own thing. And eventually, goes to the Jets, goes to Minnesota, has arguably one of his best years of his career in Minnesota. But then he also gets killed because of...
He did, because I had him on my fantasy team that year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And the best part, though, was that, I say the best part, it's the best and the worst to show you how messed up the NFL can actually be. Saints fans, I'm sorry, I'm taking a shot at you. You guys 100% knew you had a bounty on his head and you were trying to collect. You tried to kill that poor man. All right. Now, he probably deserved it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he deserved it because of the pictures and because of, stealing from that the whole embezzlement thing. But yeah. Anyways, then you've got the Aaron Rodgers era. And we do pretty good with them. 2011, we go to the Super Bowl and we win.
We went. I said, you know what? Cowboys don't have one, so you're already one up on us for that. So,
and we went in as a number 6 seed into that championship weekend. Well, that championship series rather, and still managed to pull it off. And then here we are, Jordan Love's first year at the helm. Starts out shaky, just like Aaron Rodgers did. Turns it around mid-season, just like Aaron Rodgers did. Gets us to the playoffs, just like Aaron Rodgers did. And loses to San Francisco, just like Aaron Rodgers did. So, I will say, again, I mean, as heartbroken as I am as a fan, I have to say that this year was a pretty positive year, all things considered. We weren't even expected to break 500. And here we are in, number 7 seed in the, wild card weekend, and we beat the number 2 seed, right? Right here, Pro Arena Talk, 100%, guys.
Yeah.
Jordan Love did improve a lot more. And so things are starting to fall into place, and it's starting to make sense why they drafted Jordan Love, why they made the move that they did, and partially why they didn't really include Aaron Rodgers, right? Because Goot was looking to the future, right? To figure out what we're going to do when there's no more Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. And now there's no more Aaron Rodgers.
Is a smart decision. That's what the GMs are supposed to do. So, and I understand Rodgers being mad because they traded down to pick up Love, and when there were a lot of options on the board that Rodgers could have used. But, I don't fault the GM for looking ahead either. So
no, because the way Gutenkunst, I can't even pronounce his name, and I'm German. The way he's looking at it, if you look at a lot of those diamonds in the rough that he's found, and he's found quite a few, right? He's looking more for longevity. How many people can he add in and make a longer lasting team, a more viable, more sustainable team? He's not looking for somebody who's going to get you there now. He's looking for somebody who he can build to get you there in 2 or 3 years, to give him 2 or 3 years to add some more players to help make sure that they get there and then they stay there, right? Mike G, 100%. I don't know if that was aimed at me or not, but 100%. I wrote him off at the very beginning of the season. He was shaky. He was just unconfident. I mean, he was bad. 60 something QBR. Like, that's insane for an NFL quarterback. However, he turned it around. So all props to him. Now, I'm not fully engaging in the love train. Okay. I'm not on board yet, guys. He's proven a lot, but let's see if he can get it done, next season when all the kinks have been worked out, when we actually maybe get a real defense, which again, I was really surprised. And Joe Barry, I promise you, Joe Barry's going to have he's going to have another year next year. And we're going to do the whole roller coaster thing like we always do.
So what do you think? What do you think needs to change for your team? We spent a lot of time last week, me griping on the Cowboys, what all needed to happen. Obviously Packers, they did more than what you expected, what anybody expected, but there is still a next step. So what needs to happen for y'all to take that next step?
Okay, so first and foremost, we need a new strength and conditioning coordinator because we had entirely too many people getting hurt and being out for several games. I think that made a huge difference in how Love performed, right? Without Dobbs and without Musgrave and without our 1-2 running back punch, it makes it hard for him to get that ball to other people. Now, other people have stepped up, right? I don't want to say it was just Dobbs. Christian Watson was there. Yep. And then we picked up, we activated that one cat from the practice squad, and he turned out to be phenomenal. I think it was Reed, I think his name is. I'd have to go back and look. But again, I think we need to hire strength and conditioning coach to get our players and keep our players in game shape. We need help. Although the last couple of games, our corners showed up. Jair Alexander came back from injury. He was playing well. Who's our defensive lineman that came back? There's a couple of people that came back. We don't have the Smith brothers, and that's been a void that has not been filled yet. We've got one of them. We don't have both of them. And having both of them was a phenomenal 1-2 punch on defense, right? Because you could shift them into different coverages. You could play them, one or the other. There's all kinds of different options you could have with them. So I think we're lacking that kind of key element in our defense. And then, of course, again, our defensive backs, our safeties, and our corners and stuff, they got to get a little bit better, right? Because we were giving up a lot of opportunities. Even though we were pressuring people, we were still giving up way too many opportunities and just unnecessary penalties, like ridiculous. Okay. And I don't know, when it comes to that, I don't know if it's Joe Barry that needs to be revised or if we just need to revise the roster and maybe add a couple of maybe some veteran players, right? We've talked about this before. The importance.
We're the youngest team in the playoffs by far.
Yeah.
So,
and we know how important it is to have that veteran presence in the locker room, right? When your veteran guy is 24, 25, it's a little sketch, man. It's a little sketch, not going to lie. Okay. But I think with just a couple of tweaks, I think we're viable. And I think we're in the conversation for next year's playoffs. Right. So there really isn't that much that needs to be done. It's just a couple of key elements need to be taken care of, either replaced or refined. And we're back in the playoffs again next year. Now, can we get past San Francisco? Right. That's going to be the key.
That's the question everybody's asking right now.
Yeah. Can we get past a team like San Francisco? So far, we were doing okay. I honestly think, going back and looking at the stats, there were at least 3 times that we were in the red zone and we walked away with no points.
Yep.
Why was that? Right? Blanket coverage was good, but it wasn't that damn good. Okay. And I think not having AJ, the power running back, not having him in the configuration really kind of hurt us because the guy that they used to replace him did not do very well at all. Let me bring up his stats real quick, and I'll tell you what I'll show you what I'm talking about. Not scoring drives. I'm looking at stats. Here we go. Packers rushing. Jaden Reed, they did try to rush him once. He went off 1 for 19. Emmanuel Wilson, he was the cat that we activated from the practice squad. And he 4 attempts, 16 yards total. That's basically 4 yards an attempt. It's not horrible.
Not terrible. I mean, but it's not,
He was getting crushed. He was getting crushed a lot. Aaron Jones, man.
Jones had over 100 yards.
108, 18 attempts, 108. And
I think I remember they're saying that's the first 100-yard rusher that San Fran's given up.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it was all season or if it was since the beginning of the season.
Yep.
So, I mean, that first drive, I think he ran 30 yards on him, like just that first drive. So I thought it was going to be a long day.
Yep.
For the San Francisco defense. I thought they were going to do the same thing. Green Bay was going to do the same thing to them as they did to us and just run it down the throat. But then they seemed to kind of get away from it a little bit. So
you're right.
I mean, he had 50 yards rushing in the fourth quarter until he broke that 50-yard run. So that, I don't know if it was a change in strategy or just kind of Green Bay getting away from it, but yeah, they kind of didn't do what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, what happened was, now one thing I definitely want to make sure that we highlight, because I think we may have talked about it before. I'm not 100% sure, but shout out to the local kid, right? Where's he at? Ben Sims. He played at Baylor. Well, he's a San Antonio boy, folks. And I know everybody's like, Green Bay, why does anybody have a connection with Green Bay? Well, because we're bringing in some of your talent to our team. Okay. Ben Sims did not have the greatest game necessarily, right? Because he's a little bit more of a blocking tight end, I would say. But he did have 1 reception for 4 yards, and he was only targeted once. So that's 100% catch rate. Okay. But again, shout out to the local boy. Okay. And there's going to be some other local kids we're going to be talking about here in a little bit. Now, again, I think, there's a couple of play pieces that just need to be worked out a little bit. Romeo Dobbs was targeted 6 times, got 4 receptions for 83 yards. Jaden Reed, 4 for 35. Melton was a great addition. Okay. 1 target, 19 yards. Okay. And then Luke Musgrave, 4 targets, 3 receptions, 14 yards. And then Christian Watson was targeted twice, only got 1 for 11 yards. I think if we can get Dobbs and Watson healthy with a guy like Bo Melton in the slot, and then using our tight ends, because we've got some really good ones. We've got Musgrave and Kraft, and then, of course, the local kid, Ben Sims. I think our offense is actually going to be, I don't want to say unstoppable, right? We're not going to get that ridiculous, okay? But I think our offense is going to be a lot more formidable next season. But we've got it. You guys all know the saying, offense wins games, defense wins championships. We got to get the defense figured out, man. So that's pretty much all I'm going to talk about with that one. I do think it's worth noting that that Baltimore-Houston game did not go the way anybody expected it to.
That was tough.
Yeah, it was. It was really bad. Poor CJ Stroud. I know he was busting his tail out there. He was doing everything that he could. I watched quite a bit of it, but man, you're going up against Lamar Jackson. Look at the stats from that game. Lamar Jackson led the team in rushing yards. That's your quarterback. We've talked about that, right? How smart is it for you to rush your quarterback? But the problem is they're leaving all that space because they're trying to cover the receivers because they know the guy can throw, right? And so he takes off for a stroll. He averaged 9.09 yards per carry. Dude, that's insane. No quarterback runs like that. And there's Lamar Jackson doing it. So, yeah. Texans on both sides of the ball, unfortunately, were just outmatched. First quarter, they only scored a field goal. Second quarter, they scored 1 touchdown. And that was it for the game. Yeah. And so it was
10-10 at halftime, I believe. If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And I mean, Baltimore came out second half and
Said,
24
nope.
zip.
Yep.
So
yeah, just a rough game for our Texans fans. So guys, especially our Houston market behind me here, and right there, guys, valiant effort. I know I know your team tried. It stinks that there isn't a Texas presence in the Super Bowl. I honestly, Brian, I was hoping it was either going to be Dallas and Houston in the Super Bowl or Green Bay and Houston in the Super Bowl, right? An all Texas Super Bowl would have been incredible.
That would have been fun, but I mean, yeah.
Yep. Right here. Texans did great considering they're young. Yeah, same thing. Yep. If you look at the teams, like Texans and Green Bay had, two of the arguably youngest teams in the playoffs, and they still did very well. Okay. Right there. I mean, their offensive coordinator did get poached. I've got to believe, though, with the talent that they have, they'll find the right person to keep them relevant.
Yeah.
Right. Because the main thing is, the head coach knows what he's looking for in an OC. The GM is going to know what he's looking for in an OC. They're going to find somebody. You know who it's not going to be, though? It's not going to be Mr. Harbaugh. Where's Mr. Harbaugh going, Brian?
Well, it looks like he's going to the Chargers. That's what the rumors heating up today, saying that's likely going to happen. So,
yep, and
hey, good for them.
Oh, 100%. You could not. Right here, probably. Right. I mean, who else is going to know the offense better than the quarterback coach? But yeah, the Chargers could not have made a better pick. I'm kind of surprised, to be honest, Brian. And I know we've talked about it before, but I'm kind of surprised Jerry didn't drop the hammer and be like,
Don't start with me on that.
But I mean, it's important to talk about, right? Tell Cheeseburger McGirthy, pack your biggie fries and get on out of here, right? Instead, he keeps them for another year. Okay.
At least they didn't extend him,
Yet.
So
he's
God, he's working on. He's going to be coaching on the last year of his deal next year. So,
and if he gets him to the playoffs again,
gets him to the playoffs. You know what? He got him to the playoffs this year, and he was about to be fired. So, playoffs ain't good enough. All right,
playoffs aren't good enough for you as a fan. But how important are they to the owner of the team?
I mean,
seems like Jerry's okay with it.
Dude, Jerry looked like at the end of that game or 2 weeks ago, he was going to freaking run down to the sidelines and his old ass was going to beat the crap out of McCarthy himself and fire him.
There is no way. I can't remember the character's name, but the little creature that was hanging out on Jabba's tail and making all those crazy noises, there's no way that guy's going to beat up Jabba the Hutt, dude. It's not going to happen. Okay? Look, right here. Right here. Jerry's fine being mediocre, bro.
Well, we talked about that last week.
Yep.
So,
and then lame duck season coming up.
Yep.
If you guys, man, and we've talked about it, right? Opposite of Green Bay's problems, you guys need a culture change. And it starts from the top down, right? Even if you just go from the GM down, right? The GM needs to be more involved in the day-to-day. Jerry Jones needs to be less involved, kind of, hands off, just own the team, talk about how great they are on the internet. Change out your coach, change out your coaching staff, obviously change out your quarterback, make some key position changes. But the whole thing needs to be restructured if you guys are going to do anything. If you keep the play, the pieces that you have now,
the same thing. I mean, definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and expect different results.
Yep.
So, Jerry wants to run it back next year. I'm not going to expect anything.
Yeah. So, anyways, KC Buffalo game was pretty impressive, right? It was tight, a lot of back and forth.
It was a fun game to watch. That was a real fun game to watch.
Why was it so much fun to watch, though, Brian?
Because it was like back and forth, man. It was entertaining.
Okay. Wasn't there something else that happened at the game?
There was.
That you wanted to talk about tonight?
A very, we see it occasionally, and every time we see it, it makes a big stink over the interwebs.
And what would that be?
Well, I'm getting to it. That would be the offensive player fumbling the ball into the end zone and going out of bounds, which is now, obviously, the NFL rule is that's a touchback for the defense. So, how do you feel about that rule?
Well, I would feel. Okay, sorry, had to block a comment. Because
get that spam out of here.
Yeah, it had absolutely no business being in here. I'm going to be honest, Brian. I don't think it should count as a safety.
Well, it's not a safety; it's a touchback.
Or a touchback.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it being a touchback, and here's the reason why. If the offensive player loses control of the ball and it goes out of the end zone before anybody gets an opportunity to make a play for it to try and get possession, right? Let's say the defense recovers. It's a touchback, right? So what's the difference? I mean, should they give them the ball back and let them try it again? No. Your guy dropped the ball. I mean, you're a professional football player. Don't drop the ball. Plain and simple.
That's that's pretty much where I say that too. Don't fumble the ball. You don't want to worry about the rule. Don't fumble the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's your job is to hold on to the ball, hold on to the damn ball.
Yeah.
But like it's the rules of the end zone are completely different than the rules for the rest of the field of play. That end zone is that the defense that's their base. They're trying to keep the offense from going into their base.
Fair enough.
So if the offense, they've got their weapons, which is the ball, they just throw it into the base. Well, guess what? Defense now has it. They have the ball. So
yeah, I mean, I get it. And that kind of goes back to the whole, the discussions we've had about the catch, no catch and things like that. Are the rules perfect? No. We've seen too many rule changes just in our time as football fans to show that this is an ever evolving game. Is this specific rule the right one for the game? Probably not. I mean, again,
I think it is though. I think it is in a league where, let's be honest, the way that the league's been moving, the offense has so many advantages to the defense.
Yeah.
Like this is one area where the defense actually has an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm all for the rule. I don't think this rule needs to change. I think it probably will because enough people have been complaining about it, and every time it happens, the team that it happens to, you hear it all like, oh, this is such an unfair rule and blah blah blah, and I don't think it is. I don't think it should be changed, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is.
Yeah, I mean, again, you're not necessarily wrong, right? We've seen the rules change on the catch, no catch at least twice, right? 1 foot versus 2 foot, things like that. So chances are this is probably going to change, and then it's going to go for a while, and then people are going to complain about it, and then it's going to change to something else. I don't know that it's going to go back to what it is now, but at some point, it's going to change, and then people are going to find something to complain about.
They'll probably change it to the ball gets spotted at the spot that it was fumbled in or something like that, and but
true. I mean, even putting it on like the 1 foot line and giving them an opportunity to do over, but then again, that goes back to what you just said.
Then you're rewarding the offense for fumbling,
right? Right.
So you fumble it at the 3 yard line, it rolls into the end zone, goes out of bounds. So you get it at the 1 foot line. So, hey, congrats. You just picked up 3 yards because you fumbled the ball.
Yeah.
You couldn't hold on to the ball. Congrats. Here's 3 more yards.
Yeah. Or, I mean, you could maybe tack on some yards, but then, right, people are going to cry that you're unnecessarily penalizing the offense, right? So let's say your 3 yard example, they fumble it at the 3, it rolls out, and so you put it back at the 6, right? But then again, you're unnecessarily penalizing.
Yeah.
And so there there really isn't going to be a balanced way to attack this problem, right? I don't see a way that you could do something that's going to be fair for both sides of the ball, truthfully. But
I don't. Like I said, I mean, because that's what the fourth down fumble, fumble rules are is if a player fumbles it and they're not the ones that recovers it, then like if it's recovered by another offensive player, then it goes back to the spot of the fumble. So I can see them going with that rule, So that'll be like the fourth quarter fumble and into a goal line. I don't like it. I don't think it should change, but I can see that being what changes.
So there was something else interesting that happened at the Bills Chiefs game. A little bit of extracurricular activities going on from the fans.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's Buffalo. What do they get a lot of in Buffalo is snow.
Yep.
So whole lot of snow in the stands. And I mean, what are you gonna do when you got a lot of snow just at your feet? You're gonna make snowballs and just throw them at everybody.
Yep. Ooh, Mike G actually came up with a good idea here. Right? Happens. They should use the original XFL coin toss. 2 players scramble for the ball. You could do like a rugby scrum.
There you go.
That would be an option. Back to the Buffalo thing. No offense to any of the Philadelphia fans, but I'm glad this wasn't in Philadelphia.
Dude, Philadelphia would have put batteries in those snowballs, rocks. They would, dude,
dynamite.
They would have been out to hurt some people.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, Philly fans get rough. Again, no offense to any of our Philly fans in the consortium.
You know what? All offense to the Philly fans because screw Philly and all them.
Okay.
So
okay. I'm gonna let Brian take his shots only because you guys are division rivals, and it would be like me trying to say something nice about the Bears. It ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So, like, just kind of on that subject, but off to another subject. I was talking to my wife about who I was rooting for this past week, and she was going to ask if I was rooting for the 49ers, and I said I will never root for the 49ers unless I play Philly.
Yep. I could see that. I could see that. And I won't root for the 49ers just this year because they beat Green Bay. Otherwise, I got no beef with them. I mean, they beat us several times, and it's our fault,
So are you actually rooting for your division rival, the Lions, against the 49ers?
Oh, God, no. No. Would you root for the Giants?
No, absolutely not.
Would you root for Philly?
Absolutely not.
Would you root for Washington?
I mean, Washington's never going to win anything, but on the off chance that they did, the heavens aligned, and apparently, like every player for the Cowboys, Giants, and Philly all break every bone in their body. Washington actually sneaks into a division win. No, I wouldn't root for them. Hell no.
So, based on that alone, I can't root for the Lions, man. Come on, like let's be honest, right?
No,
now.
I root for the Lions, but because I think it's a cool story. And once again, I will never root for the 49ers unless they play Philly.
Yeah. So. Now, I will say I'm hopeful for the Detroit fans. And again, the whole rags to riches story, right? I feel bad for them because it's been so long since they've seen the playoffs. And they've never seen a Super Bowl win, right? Their trophy case is just absolutely barren, right? So I do feel bad for them. I've heard that they're leasing out space to Pittsburgh. I'm not sure if that's true, but oh wow, man, Mike G's bringing the pain today. And then go Lions. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope for the fan base that Detroit does well. As a team, I hope they fail miserably because, again, they're a division rival. I mean, it would be no different than me hating on Minnesota or anything like that. I've got no beef with San Fran other than the fact that they keep beating us every time we play them. And they keep finding somehow these miraculous quarterbacks like Purdy. Purdy was a complete accident. And then look what happened, right? They used to have Jimmy G. Jimmy G used to be awesome. It was when he was with Frisco.
I don't know about awesome.
He was pretty good.
He was good.
He was pretty good.
He was good.
He was pretty good. Okay. So
again, we totally went off subject. We were talking about the freaking
the snowballs,
fans throwing snowballs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that's okay because that's
we got off of that and started talking about how much Philly fans suck.
Yeah,
so,
which
is a natural,
That's what we do here. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what doesn't suck though, Brian? We just had our first UFL trade.
We did.
That doesn't suck at all.
We did.
Now,
does not suck at all.
I want to give credit to XFL Mike G for breaking the story to us first. He didn't like give it to us and then everybody else. It's just he broke it. We saw it from him. I didn't see it anywhere else first. So I'm giving him props for that. But it looks like the Birmingham Stallions have traded their defensive back Elijah Holder for our defensive back Bubba Bolden. Okay. Can't tell you if that's necessarily a good trade or a bad trade yet, because I don't have any stats on Bubba Bolden, according to our friends over at the UFL board. But Elijah's stats are pretty decent. Now, he was picked up by the Stallions from the Super Dispersal Draft, and he was originally a player from the Seattle Sea Dragons. And then before that, he spent some time with the Houston Gamblers, and his career at Stanford, he was pretty solid defensive back. 132 tackles, 6.5 for a loss, and 28 passes defended in 37 career games. That's as a college player. In 2023, he had 25 tackles, and then with the Gamblers, he had 19 tackles. So the guy knows how to hit, right? And it looks like he's a pretty fast, athletic back. So I have to believe that, again, oh, look at this. Look at this. Shout out to Brahma Babe for breaking it first then. There you go. Good citation there, Mike. Appreciate you. I have to believe that this trade was based more on what's his name? Phillips's defensive scheme, if you will.
Yeah.
And Holder fitting more in line with what Wade is looking for, rather than what Bubba was bringing to the table. And that's not to say that Bubba Bolden is a bad player or anything. Again, I don't have any stats on him. I can't really talk about the guy. But I'm looking at all the picks that our precious Brahmas have made in all the drafts and everything. And granted, yes, they picked up a lot of Houston players, right? And so there's going to be a lot of familiarity there. That's going to help Wade out. That's going to help the team out. But they also made some really key player saves of the Brahmas players. We got Mac back, right? Yeah. We got Akers. We got a couple of really good players that are coming back now.
Delonte Scott, which is that's a big one to me.
Yeah. Well, and then we also added Dormady, right? Which people know that's a local kid here. He played up in Bernie, if I remember correctly. So you're getting some hometown flavor back here. Now, I would have rather it have been Agent Zero, not going to lie, right? Some Frank Harris would have been wonders for the team. But I can't help but think that even though he's hung up his cleats, he's not done with football, and football's not done with him.
Oh, he's got to go into some kind of coaching or something like that. I mean,
and this may be that opportunity, man. Right? I don't know what the Brahmas have in store for him. However, I do know that the Brahmas did have a few conversations with him, and most of them were with Hines Ward. But I believe even Phillips had a conversation with him since taking over as the coach. So I don't know. Again, I don't know what the plan is, or if there even is a plan. But the Brahmas would be making a mistake if they didn't try and get Agent Zero involved in some way, shape, or form. I mean, the guy had a 7-year football career, right? I mean, that's pretty impressive, man. And he set some pretty decent records. So I've got to believe that there are some plans.
He'll end up on a staff somewhere. I mean, if it, maybe it's not our UFL first. Maybe it's UTSA. Maybe he jumps on the staff there for a little bit, kind of, get trained up a little bit, and then he'll, make his way onto staff somewhere.
Yeah. So again, exciting news that we were involved in the first trade since the dispersal draft and everything. I definitely want to keep my eyes, and I'm encouraging everybody here to keep your eyes peeled the next couple of days and weeks. First of all, the schedule is going to be coming out pretty soon, but I also have to believe that, while they're kind of getting the teams together and starting to do, some, player discussions and things like that, whatever, that some of these young men that we saw at, the XFL showcases, maybe some of those guys are going to be getting some calls, right? Maybe they're going to be, getting told, hey, be on standby, be ready to go. Because I'm telling you, man, our guy,
one certain Caleb.
Yep. I'm telling you, everybody that's watching, if you're looking for just an athletic young man who can play both sides of the ball, you want to look up Caleb Samuel. Okay. We're going to keep plugging him just because shameless plug. We're personally vested in this guy. He was just a great young man and a great individual.
He was. He was a fun kid to talk to, and he's a hell of a talent too. So,
yeah, just watching him at that Orlando showcase, showing out as hard as he did with an injured ankle, which was preventing him from running his fastest 40. He still ran it in what did he say, 4.5, 4.4, and that's with an injured ankle.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was ridiculously fast.
It was great. It was crazy.
I don't think I could run 10 yards as fast as this kid can run 40. Okay. He's just that quick, man. He's insane.
I don't think I could run 10 yards anyways, but
for a cheeseburger, I would. But it'd have to be a really damn good cheeseburger. I'm not going to lie. So
Fatty's burger.
Ooh. Oh, that would be some good stuff right now. Switching over to our friends in the IFL. There really hasn't been a whole lot of news, other than what we talked about, first of all, them going into the IFL, the gunslingers here going into the IFL, it being a different style of ball, right? So for the gunslingers fans who are used to the way things were played last season, this is not going to be Iron Man football, right? So you're not going to have cats that are going to be playing both sides of the ball. You're going to have specialists that are dedicated to positions. You're going to have your jack linebackers, your linemen, your corners, receivers, running backs, things like that. But that's pretty much all they're going to do. You might have a wide receiver that returns kickoffs, something like that. But for the most part, that's going to be it. They also added Castronova, hell of a quarterback, right? I cannot wait to see this kid start playing.
Oh, man.
They added Menace as the coach, right? And he's fired up. He is excited to be a part of the fan base and part of the team here, right? So, shout out to San Antonio fans for giving him that kind of excitement. And, he's maybe been here once or twice, so even just that limited exposure, he's excited to be here. So expect for him to dump that excitement back into the team and make some waves in the IFL. Now,
the IFL, man, your season starts March 16th. So we're less than 2 months away from that season kicking off. So
now
the Gunslingers don't play till the second week.
Yeah.
But actually they don't play till the third week.
Yeah, and I'm a little bummed out.
Yeah, April 1st is the Gunslingers' first game.
Yep.
It's kind of weird.
It is. I'm a little bummed out that the UFL season doesn't start before the IFL, but the IFL season lasts so much longer, so this works out fine, right? We'll still be able to watch. My precious Green Bay Blizzard will be playing Sunday, March 17th, right? We'll see how bad they do this year. Hopefully Gilbert Brown is still involved with the team. If not, it's not going to matter because they're still going to do bad. And then I'm trying to see when our friends in Frisco have their first game Friday, March 22nd. Okay. So basically, once we hit March, we're going to be covering a lot more of the IFL stuff that's going to be going on. And again, I'm excited for some of the teams that they've brought in. One of which San Antonio.
You got the Sharks, obviously. So
yeah. And I do love the whole Arizona consortium that they have going on over there, right? Because you have the Arizona Rattlers, the Northern Arizona, whatever these guys are, the Wranglers, and then you also have the Tucson Sugar Skulls, right? So what Texas has in the IFL, I'm sorry, in the UFL, IFL has going on over in Arizona. And I think that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
So, hey, man, if the marketplaces can support it, 15 teams, I don't care. If your marketplace can support it, you run with it, man. That's capitalism for you, baby. Now, what else do we have to talk about? I think that's pretty much it. We, of course, that we originally were planning on talking about the AFL because Austin was supposed to be getting a team, and now it looks like that is not going to transpire. Austin has lost their bid for an AFL team. Not sure where it went. Not sure if it was ever even going to actually happen. I think it may have just been an option.
Who knows? AFL is such a cluster. I mean, it's
it's still bad, and it's supposed to be starting really soon. But you wouldn't be able to tell from their website because it's
still hasn't updated. Still hasn't updated from the original announcement. So
it's the AFL.com. And let me just look. In fact, oh wow. Hey Brian.
What?
Why don't you jump on your computer real quick and do a search for theafl.com?
Why is that? Website unavailable. Account suspended. Wow. That is interesting.
Nashville Cats, if they have a season. So I think what we probably as a show need to do is reach out to some of our contacts that monitor the AFL the way we monitor the UFL and see if we can find some more information on the story. But seems to me that the AFL, who's supposed to be having a website or having a season, in fact, the AFL.com. That's the correct website. So yeah, we're going to reach out to our contacts that follow indoor football a little bit more closely than we do, and see if they can shed a little bit of light on what's going on with the AFL. Maybe they've heard something that we haven't heard or whatever, or maybe this is just typical. Maybe the website's down because they're.
I mean, they haven't updated the damn thing in like 4 months, so maybe they decided, hey, stop paying on it.
I mean, maybe I don't know.
We're not going to use it. Why pay for it?
There's nothing going on. It's just really scary. But then we also, because the Gunslingers were in the NAL, right? We were originally covering that. Well, now that the Gunslingers are no longer in the NAL, we're probably not going to talk about that very much, just because, again, there isn't really a Texas team in there. So what's the point in talking about something that really doesn't have to do with Texas, because we're Texans talking football, not just talking football in general. But if you happen to be in one of those marketplaces that has a team, it seems like the NAL has pretty much taken over Middle America, right? With Iowas and stuff like that. I see you. So if you're in one of those marketplaces, definitely check it out. There are some really good teams there. And there are some really great teams that actually made the move from other leagues into the NAL to fill the voids that a lot of the NAL teams left. So I think you guys are going to be getting a pretty good product at your price. And definitely, check that out, buy into it. Okay. Other than that, I think it's important for us, because our picks were all over the place last week, right? I think it's important that we finish out the show talking about the Chiefs Ravens and the Lions 49ers, and probably also need to go back. Well, we talked about it, last week? I think it was week before. We talked about the Houston event.
Yes.
But I definitely want to give, shouts out to everybody that was involved with that. So we'll do that kind of at the end of the show. So, Chiefs Ravens, Brian. Over in the AFL, you've got the 13-4 Ravens going up against the 11-6 Chiefs, and they're going to be in Baltimore. And it's number 1 and number 3 seed. It's going to be a tough game. Who are you picking on that one? And why?
Man, I think Ravens are hard to beat, man, but I kind of think the Chiefs are going to take it.
Really? And why is that?
Yeah. They seem to kind of be coming together a little bit. I know they struggled a lot, kind of late middle of the season, but they're kind of getting it together. It seems like. I just I'm just kind of got a feeling.
Okay, I can run with that. I'm going to go with Baltimore, and there's one reason why. Lamar Jackson. Enough said.
Yeah,
a guy who can throw the ball and run for 100 yards in a game. You've got an extra weapon on the field, okay? And it's a double threat because he could throw. Well, actually, triple threat because he could throw. He could hand it off to a running back, or he could take it himself for 7 yards. I mean, we saw his average in the last game. 9.09.
Oh, dude, hell, he ran for 850, 900 yards during the regular season. So, it's not like it's a one-off thing. Like, that dude's a legit threat to run every single play.
Yeah. Let's kick back over to the NFC. Okay. You've got the 12-5 49ers sitting at number 1 going up against the 12-5 Lions at the number 3 spot in Santa Clara. Who are you picking on that one?
I already told you who I'm going to root for.
I know who you're rooting for. Who are you picking?
Picking who I'm going to root for. I think the Lions are gonna take it.
Okay. And as much as I would like to see that happen, I really don't think they're going to get past 49ers. And here's the reason why. Okay.
Because the 49ers are just so damn good.
The 49ers are good, and we gave them a run for their money. And I honestly think that we cost ourselves that game. Okay. We had every opportunity to win it, and we didn't. Right. Anders Carlson, right. I'm almost getting ready to go into a do better moment right now, but I think I'm going to, you know what? No, I am going to do it. I am going to do better. Anders Carlson, kicker, the Green Bay Packers, who was chosen over Mason Crosby. Okay. And I get the reason why. Mason Crosby is getting old. He's like 38, 39. For a kicker, that's pretty darn old. Mason Crosby, once he was cut, went to the Giants. First kick out of the gate, 45-yarder, nailed it perfect, right down the center.
Right down the
Anders
center.
Carlson is missing 25-yard kicks. Okay? Anders Carlson, you have one job, bro. One job. Kick the ball through the uprights. I understand it's not as easy as it sounds, right? But that's your job. Your job is to figure out how to make that happen. You were given an opportunity. That field goal alone would have tied that game. Okay? You also missed an extra point, which could have given us that potential lead. There is no excuse for a professional paid kicker to miss a kick unless it's blocked or fumbled or something by somebody. If everything is done right, that ball is set up where you need it to be, you should be able to drill it. Now, maybe not from 60, 65 yards or something. That might be a little bit ridiculous, but
inside of 50, there's no reason NFL kicker should miss a kick inside the 50.
Absolutely no reason. So I don't care that it was raining. I don't care if it was a blizzard. I don't care if it was the Ice Bowl 3.0. Your job is to kick that ball, okay? Kick it. Get it through the uprights. No more excuses. So, Anders Carlson, you should be beaten severely with a tuna fish. The special teams coach, you should be dragged behind a cheese wagon at a very slow pace. And just so it's insulting and not really like hurtful or anything like that. And all kickers around the league, like, appreciate what you bring to the team, because your effort could be the deciding factor between a win and a loss. But Anders Carlson, do better, man. Do better.
I mean, the guy missed, if you're including extra points and everything, he missed more kicks than anybody in the league last year.
Yep. And he's still employed. And I don't get it. Blows my mind. Anyways, forget that, dude. Let's talk about the Lions and the Niners. With as well as Purdy is doing, and God, what's his name? Their running back dude.
McCaffrey.
There you go, McCaffrey.
Yeah. I do like watching McCaffrey play.
Yeah,
I wish he was on a different team.
Well, and even Ayuk, right? Ayuk's been catching everything thrown at him. 75 receptions for the season. That's insane. So I just don't see how Detroit is going to get past that. Their defense, I mean, we've shown what can happen, right? We completely picked them apart on Thanksgiving. And then from that Thanksgiving game on, Green Bay was the team to beat. Detroit has slid going into the playoffs. The last couple of games they slid. They managed to stop the slide, but I don't see that they're going to have enough juice to beat San Francisco, right? I really don't. But who knows, man, right? Any given Sunday, as they say. So,
I mean, Dan Campbell has shown that he can put together a game plan that, I mean, that's what kind of one of his strengths. He puts together a real good one against the Cowboys when we played in the regular season. He's kind of put a lot of stuff together for the last two playoff games that they've been able to win. So, I wouldn't put it past them to put something together to kind of contain Ayuk and McCaffrey and stuff like that as much as possible. So really, it's can the offense kind of keep up? And I mean, they've shown that they've been able to so far. So
Mike G is right. If Detroit can get an early jump, they have a chance.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what Green Bay did.
Yep.
So maybe take some lessons and see what you can do with it.
But when you get into the red zone, score touchdowns, not field goal attempts like what Green Bay was doing last
field goal
week.
attempts. Thank you very little. Now, to go back to something we just touched on a little while ago, right? The AFL website is actually up. The original AFL website that we were referring to apparently is the one that's down. The new one is arenafootballusa.com. And this one is actually updated. And so there's real information there. I don't see I take that back. I do see there is one Texas team in there, so we are going to have to talk about them. And that's the Desert Hawks.
Oh, that's right.
Right. So we'll talk about them. We'll try and be nice.
Which was the Desert Hawks, which was the West Texas Warbirds from the NAL.
Yep. Who we beat a couple of times, and if I remember correctly, that was somebody you made friends with.
No, I didn't.
Was that Austin?
That was Austin,
okay.
Like old school NAL. That was Superman.
Okay. Now I will say the one thing I am excited to see is some of the original names being back in the AFL, right? And so you're looking at the Orlando Predators, the Georgia Force, and Louisiana Voodoo, right? Oh, and Philadelphia Soul. You can't forget Philadelphia Soul, right? But those are some of the original AFL teams, and so I am excited to see them back at least. Right. Hopefully the AFL sticks around. Hopefully they've learned from, the previous iterations and some of the craziness. Did I ever tell you my AFL story?
I think so.
About
but I don't think you told
all of our friends,
the people watching.
Okay. So my AFL story, I'll make it really quick. Huge supporter of the San Antonio Talons when we had the San Antonio Talons after they moved here from Tulsa. It was the last year that the team was in existence. I had season tickets. Brian and I went to several of the games. We had a great time every time we went there. Well, turns out the last game of the season, they're playing Louisiana Voodoo. And at the time, I believe it was New Orleans Voodoo, right?
Yeah.
So I had some friends that live in Covington, which is on the other side of Lake, whatever toilet bowl that is or whatever it's called. And so we drove to Louisiana to see our friends with the specific purpose of catching that last game. I got to meet my guys. I don't even have his jersey anymore. Robert Quiroga, the wide receiver. I got to meet his parents at the game. Lovely people. We had a great time. We were like the only San Antonio consortium there, and we're cheering with the parents, and they were hanging out with us. I mean, it was an incredible time. Knowing the full well that it's the last game of the season, we went and watched, had a great time with them. Oddly enough, they had a like a team get together, autograph signing session, whatever, back in San Antonio the next day. So we hauled tail all the way from Covington, Louisiana, back to San Antonio. Didn't even go home and drop off our bags. Went straight to the Lion and Rose on Santerra. Went over there.
Oh, that was a good place.
Went and visited with all the team and cheering them on, and because I believe they missed the playoffs that year. And I'm telling them, hey, don't worry about it, right? We're going to have another season. You guys will bring it back, and you're going to bring it back to San Antonio. Everything's going to be great. And then 3 months later, they announced that they folded the team. Right? The story of San Antonio sports here. But it was such an incredible experience to actually be able to go and hang out with like the players' families. And because I was wearing my Quiroga jersey, his parents came over and were like, you got to come hang out with us. Like it was just so awesome, and the best part is, because I think it was like the Smoothie King Center where they played at, we bought nosebleed tickets and went and sat on the 25-yard line, which is center field. It was so awesome. Like nobody even cared, it was incredible. But yeah, so that's my AFL story, right? Following a team to go watch them lose their last season game, and good stuff, man. Good stuff. Anyways, I think that pretty much covers everything. We talked about our playoffs, the AFL not being broken, just their website is broken. UFL.
Not anymore. No, we just had the wrong site. They just didn't.
Yep.
They went to a new one and didn't tell anybody.
Of course. Why would they? But I think that's pretty much it. So we're going to wrap up the show with another shout out again to everybody that was involved in the Houston event. Looks like we raised about $2,000 for Houston Area Women's Center. That should be getting presented soon to them. And again, just an incredible time. I did expect a little bit more, but that's just me being, perfectionist that I am. I thought for sure we'd be able to raise, several $1,000s for the Houston Area Women's Center, but that's okay, right?
But you know what? Hey, it was a great event, and you know what? They're going to get $2,000 that they didn't have before the event, and so I mean, we can always want more, but I mean just the effort that everybody, the Predator couple, Rig Rocker, and all the Houston fan base, just everything they put into it. I mean, it was phenomenal.
Right.
I mean,
Brahma Babe, everybody at the UFan Legion, and here comes the shameless plug for Fuel as well, right? That's the Fans United Experience League. Shout out to them because they're going to be continuing this series of events. They're going to find another location and do another fundraiser for another fan base. And they're going to continue to try and do their part as fans to help spread awareness for the league and help, a worthy charity in one of these marketplaces. So, definitely shout out to them. Keep up the good work. We'll continue to, do our part to help support you guys. But yeah, the most important thing that I want to make sure that I don't forget to mention is thank you fans, right? For you folks that were jumping in, Mike G and everybody at, the Alternative Football Network that as soon as we went live and started showing the items, started throwing in bids and stuff, that definitely did help out.
I mean, they were sharing it. They were bidding on it. I mean, they were, it wasn't just here, let me share it. Like, I mean, Mike G won one of the auctions.
Yep.
So, I mean, they were actively involved.
Yep.
So
definitely shout out to all of you guys, all of you fans that participated in it, and even ones that maybe didn't participate but shared it to other people to help get people engaged and involved. It's this community, this network of people that makes this so special and makes this happen. Okay, so I can't thank you guys enough for all that you do. Okay. We love being here and talking about football and doing all these things and everything, but it's the boots on the ground. It's the people that are willing to go out of their way to share this with some of their friends, who then share it with some of their other friends, and who kind of keep it going with no interest in any personal gain whatsoever. So thank you guys. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else before we go, Brian?
No, that is it.
Okay. Well, guys, it's been a great show. Nice Tuesday. We appreciate you all for checking in, and we'll catch you on the next one. All right. Horns forward. Let's go.
See you.